Andrew here, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about the brand spanking new album from Insomnium, Anno 1696. Now, before I jump into the songs, I just found something about this album and something about like Insomnium's history of writing, that they have this incredible ability to have strong tempos, intense riff work, and strong vocals, yet have this immense amount of beauty and tranquility within their music. And you get that, and that is definitely captured on this opening track, the title track, Anno 1696, which has beautiful melodies within it, but are surrounded by bombastic drums, heavy, very heavy, thick, strong rhythms, and Nilos Savanen's vocals, his very deep guttural vocals, but like I said, is all accompanied by fantastic beauty and tranquility within the atmosphere and the melodies. And also on this is it opens up with this nice, very emotional, atmospheric, sort of traditional Finnish intro, which is sort of goes hand in hand with something that Insomnium does traditionally, has an intro piece. Just this one is very connected to is obviously connected to the song, but it just has this more traditional Finnish sort of folk intro feel to it. That's what I sort of gathered from that, and also found the drums were a little brand new. Well, maybe not brand new, but just the little things that were sort of added to this sort of a blast beat elevation, the speed around the kit. I just felt Markus Hirvonen had added a little bit of things here and there to really amplify and change not only this song but throughout the album. And I'm going to talk about his drum work a little bit later on another track. This next one is really awesome. I really enjoyed White Christ. This turns up another wonderful melody with fantastic lead work in this, alluring, really blending well with the alluring atmospheres, and that blended nicely with the warm rhythms. I felt the rhythms were nice and warm, not overly intense, and those went really hand in hand, I thought, with the ringing lead notes that really sung out majestically in this track. Absolutely killer. And I felt like the lead notes, that melody sort of was throughout the song, but had its apex during the chorus and united with the commanding beat, and that really garnered a lot of attention. I really liked the chorus and the build from the intro into the verse and then all the way into the chorus. I really felt like it was a nice ascension, a nice build towards this absolutely killer chorus. And I also loved the lyrics. I could really feel the lyrics. They were really pronounced and forward, and I felt like they really thrived a lot in this track. I really liked the lyrics. One thing I didn't delve into or wasn't able to grasp entirely just yet were the themes of the songs and the lyrics. I listened to the songs a lot and felt a lot of lyrics, but I didn't really get the theme. But I think there's a pretty strong theme and concept going on in these lyrics. So I think the more I dive into it, the more I'm really going to grasp a lot of what's going on, maybe story-wise, within this album. This next track I want to jump to is the lone track written by Will Fryman, one of the masterminds behind Insomnium. So that's why I sort of really felt that Lillian was a very signature Insomnium track. What it felt like. You hear this and it reminds me of songs way back on from In the Halls of Awaiting, or maybe Across the Dark. It just had that old school Insomnium feel, full of heart and soul from the melodies, paired with some ruthless aggression from the vocals and drum work, and just absolutely wicked energetic tempo on Lillian. And it was just such a throwback to the first handful of Insomnium albums. And then when I found out that Will Fryman wrote it, that sort of really clued in and made sense for me. Now this next track, I felt was the first one that really captured a visual for me. Like I said, I felt like there was a concept and story going on, and you could really gather that from the lyrics. And I really felt like this one, Starless Paths, really sort of captured a lot of that and brought a visual to me like I normally feel. But this one, it felt like a funeral procession in the forest led by wolves on a very wintry night. The further you traverse into this night, the darker it gets, with the melodies being like the shine of shine of the moon on the river, the atmosphere being engulfing darkness, and the vocals being like howling wolves in the night. This one really captured a lot for me visually when I was just sitting there, listening to the music, listening to the atmosphere, the emotion, the lyrics. This next track, The Witch Hunter, I really gathered quite a few sort of visuals as well, and the title itself gives away some visuals along with the atmosphere and melody. But I really felt like this track was a throwback, not throwback, but it felt like an Omnium Gatherum song, probably because Marcus Van Halle, the mastermind behind Omnium Gatherum, wrote it. So, but there was just certain chord progressions and certain notes that felt like Omnium Gatherum. They harnessed this classic Omnium Gatherum sort of devious tone, you know, the way they sort of spoke out to me. And then you also, though, you add the Insomnium style vibe and guitar work and sort of tone and atmosphere as well. So you kind of got like this cool Omnium Gatherum Insomnium song sort of uniting and coming together. I thought that was actually really cool, making it stand out amongst the rest of the songs. And I also felt like the clean vocals, you know, on this track really stood out as well, and really sort of was a bit of a throw over to Omnium Gatherum on the album. This album here that I'm going to grab, Origin, the clean vocals really spoke out to me like this. So again, yeah, I'm sort of like getting these visuals or these feels of this album and songs from this into Insomnium. So it's a really awesome, like sort of supergroup vibe, this and epic song, why having these, you know, attributes from Omnium Gatherum playing off in Insomnium in this track, Witch Hunter, which is really cool. I really thought what Marcus Hirvonen did on drums was also fresh and really added a lot to this track as well, though. And speaking of drums, I thought what Marcus Hirvonen did on the closing track on this album, The Rapids, was extremely impressive, with different assaulting high tempos, tempo beats, and rhythmic changes that synced up really nicely with the rhythm guitars, and then cooling off at times to sort of let the melodies, the lead guitar melodies and vocal melodies sort of come through a little bit more. The cymbal use with the galloping tom work in certain areas that connected with the atmosphere and Nilo's vocals was really cool at times. There was just so much drum work and so much uniqueness to this. And now what I thought was there's actually a lot of new things that people might not hear that I really picked up on that Marcus did on this that I've actually never heard him use. And I thought that was really fresh, really new. It adds a tremendous amount to the songs. You would find there's just the little nuances and intricacies that can do that on songs like this. And you really felt like, I just felt like his changes and what he did on the drum work really did so much to the music, and so much to the music on this album. For instance, just like the little blitz attack that united with the screaming solo in The Rapids was just a little thing that sort of elevated the solo a little bit as well. So man, he absolutely crushed it on this album with, you know, changing things up, adding little stuff here and there, little nuances and intricacies to really add to the songs. But overall, The Rapids, I feel, is just a very quite impressive piece of musicianship and absolutely killer track to end the album on. And just has a lots of intricacies in it as well, depth, emotions, atmospheres. I really feel like The Rapids probably captures the whole essence of this album, in my opinion, perfectly. If I had to pick one song to say, like, which is the one that captures the most of that essence of Anno 1696 and Insomnium, is, I'm going to say The Rapids is that track. Now before I leave, I just thought, like, on this album, Marcus Van Halle's writing seemed a bit, you know, different for Insomnium. Like I said, it had a bit of a Omnium Gatherum feel. These dark, sort of heavy rhythms, the way they were, you know, devious, the sort of the leads that he was using, and they just sort of had this cathartic darkness to them. This sort of unleash the burden and breathing of hope. And I was wondering if, like, that it was anything that was picked up on by anybody out there watching this video, and then what they thought of this, if they picked up a subtle difference in Marcus Van Halle's writing on Insomnium, you know, that he brought maybe over from, you know, stuff that he used for Omnium Gatherum, and if that was sort of done to apply itself to this album specifically. So that's sort of a question I'm going to throw out there. Did you hear that? If you're a fan of Insomnium and Omnium Gatherum, I'm just curious if I am the only one who picked up on that, or if, like, maybe even really hearing it that way, but that's just how I felt, that there was a smidgen of difference here. Like I said, these sort of, you know, devious notes, these rhythms and things that he did for some of the songs he wrote. That's a question. I never usually ask questions, but you know, maybe you can check that out and maybe reply in the comments and stuff like that if you're a fan of both Omnium Gatherum and Insomnium. I sort of put the tattoo of their logos together. Anyways, I hope you guys check out Insomnium's brand new album, Anno 1696. Really cool album. Dug into it as fast as I could. I can't wait to get my copy of it. So go down to the description below to check out all the songs. I'll have them linked down there along with my other YouTube channels and where you can purchase Insomnium's brand new album. So until next time, folks, how about some heavy Insomnium?